What's up guys, Blade Master here, back with some more Total War Rome 2 online action. I'm fighting up against Milan Francis in this matchup, the latest member to the Wolf of Remus clan. I've taken Epirus in this matchup and he has taken Macedon. We're going to be fighting in Macedon. This is actually the first of two battles that we fought, and in the second match I took Macedon and he took Epirus just to switch factions and see how well he played with Epirus and how I played with Macedon. So let's see what happens in the match. Fast forward the first bits because we're not really doing too much. I'm just going to move up in front with my army against his. Definitely looks like, I think my army can beat his, but just as easily his army can beat mine, because, his army is a lot sturdier than mine. I've got a very flimsy main line, whereas he's got a very sturdy main line and a good second line as well. But the fact is that he's got a lot less maneuverability than I do, and the whole sturdiness of his main line is not going to really make much of a difference if I can get my elephants to charge in uninterrupted onto his army. So some early game tactics here. He's moving up with his citizen cap to try and scare off my mercenary Rhodian slingers, but I'm going to counter scare them with some mercenary Italian cavalry. Move up close in front, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and bait his Thoria spears to start showering their javelins here. I move up really close in front, and that's just not good tactics here. I lose 5 mercenary Italian cavalry while trying to bait his Thoria spears to start showering their javelins. I need them to shower as many javelins on my lower value units as possible before I can run in with my elephants. Meanwhile, let's see what I'm doing with my Rhodian slingers. They're still out of range. Now take a look at this. I'm moving up in front with my Italian cavalry. He has turned off Fire at Will over here. Milan Francis has actually turned off Fire at Will, which is very smart from him because it's very easy to just bait or get baited by this this little tactic. You can see they're going to just about to fire the javelins, and no, he's turned off Fire at Will, and that's a very smart move because he could see very quickly, very early on in the game, that I was trying to bait his Thoria spears to start showering javelins onto my Italian cavalry. It's kind of an apparent tactic, but still it's a very smart and good bit of micro that Milan Francis has done, saving his precious javelins for them to fire onto my more highly valued targets like my Hellenic Royal Cavalry and my mercenary Indian War Elephants. Now he hasn't moved around with his Tarentine Cav, which is kind of a concern because his Tarentine Cav should be able to come in and start basically irritating my army, because I'm just getting free shots onto his general. Sure, it's not going to make not going to give not going to give me a lot of kills, but it's still going to be irritating for him. Now he was coming in with the citizen cav. I'm going to counter scare again with my 3 Thessalians and with my 2 Thessalians and my Hellenic Royal Cav. Just keep them up in front. I don't have to worry about him and his slingers or his potential archers because he has none. So I'm perfectly content just slowly firing at his Royal Peltis. They're going to start taking some casualties very soon. Of course, a lot of they're in the third line, so it's going to be very tough for my slingers to actually get a lot of kills very soon. But I'm just content with whittling them down. They're going to start dropping. You can see they've already lost 5 men. They're going to lose a lot more before my slingers run out of ammo. That's for sure. So the 2 mercenary Thracian warriors he has can also be a potential game changer. If they get into my cavalry, they'll absolutely slaughter them very quickly. But on the other hand, they could be a waste of 1,000 talents just as easily, because if I can get some charges in or if I can use my Rhodian slingers against them, then they're basically useless. I'm moving up with my militia hoplites just to absorb some javelin fire from him, and that is that's working out perfectly for me because they're just taking a lot of javelins. They're not going to do anything in this matchup anyways. So as long as they can absorb as many javelins as possible, that's good for me. Meanwhile, I'm just continuously firing on his Royal Peltis. They're starting to drop pretty quickly now. Already 20 units lost. He's going to move in with his mercenary Thracian warriors. Now on paper this looks like a good move, but he's just overextending with them a lot. Now they're very close to my Hellenic Royal Cav, and I can just as easily just charge into these units and kill them off. But I'm choosing not to do that. I was planning to attack with my mercenary Italian cavalry, I believe. Yeah, there we go. I'm issuing an attack order, but it's just I'm going to move in too close to his javelins, and then my mercenary Italian cavalry will get slaughtered by while trying to attack his Thracian warriors. But here he's moved behind with them, and my slingers are just going to concentrate fire on these units and just slaughter them. Again, he wanted to charge in with his citizen cav, but my 3 shock cav behind my lines are just perfectly placed to try and counter that. Now he's only got 67 units left with his Thracian warriors, and they're going to fight up against my militia hoplites. My militia hoplites will die, but I don't really care about them. Now he's getting really close up with his citizen cap, so I'm going to countercharge with my Thessalians, just try and drive them off. And they're running back really slowly, so I've actually caught them in the rear. But take a look at the devastation his javelins are going to cause. They've just slaughtered his own citizen cap and killed off a lot of my Thessalian cap in the process as well. A ton of friendly fire kills, but they've just slaughtered my Thessalian cav. Just 30 units just gotten slaughtered within a matter of seconds. And now he's only got 16 citizen cav left. The rest of his units are starting to shower javelins onto my militia hoplites, and they actually got a good javelin volley on my mercenary Italian cav. He's meanwhile moving around with his Tarentine cav here, and he's circling around, which is pretty dangerous for me and quite the concern. Now I'm going to come in for a second charge and kill off his citizen cav with my Thessalians. Poor move on my part, because I still had 30 units left with these Thessalians. Now they're all the way down to 16. He's going to charge in with his main line here. It looks like the actual matchup is about to start. I've only got 12 units left with that Thessalian cav, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to YOLO charge with my 2 remaining shock cav onto the center of his line. My militia hoplites have just completely bogged down this entire line of 3 thorax swordsmen, 2 thoraeus spears, and his royal pelters. And take a look at what's going on here. I'm going to charge in with my mercenary Indian royal elephants while they were busy just fighting up against that militia hoplite, and they're going to just crash through this entire line with stampede on and with battle rhythm as well. 157 kills within a second, I think within like 2 seconds. But he's still got more thoraeus spears over here. I thought they were about to shower some javelins on my with my Indian royal elephants. I'm going to come in with a second charge with my Hellenic Royal Cav Gen. They haven't really got many kills, but my Indian War Elephants, 198, 200 kills here. Meanwhile, the rest of his line is engaged with my Samnite warriors here. Samnites engaged with thoraeus spears, Samnites engaged with 2 thorax swordsmen. His Tarentine cav have come in too late to the party, but they're still attacking my mercenary Rhodian slingers, and my Rhodian slingers are basically done here. My Italian swordsmen are going to engage with his thorax swordsmen, but my Hellenic Royal Cav is getting shot in the rear. They're actually getting chased off by some of his Royal Peltas and his thorax swordsmen, and they're actually dying very, very quickly. My Indian War Elephants, meanwhile, are starting to run amok here. They've actually they've gotten slaughtered by, one of them has gotten slaughtered by those thoraeus spears javelins. Doesn't look like these thoraeus spears really have any more ammo, though they're bracing. So it doesn't look like they have any ammo. My Samnite warriors here will probably destroy these thoraeus spears. These Thracian warriors have not really done too much. My Lydian levies over here are have just held up his thoraeus spears. Meanwhile, my Thessalian cav and my Italian cav, citizen cav, just killed off that one solitary citizen cav that he had. And my Indian royal elephants over here are just going to crash into the rear of his thorax swordsman. His royal peltas only has 37 units left. Only 26 kills in this matchup, but here his Tarentine cav are actually coming in very close, and they're starting to slaughter a lot of my elephants. 10 units left only because of that deadly javelin volley from those Tarentine cav. But I've come in with my Hellenic Royal Cavalry General, just attack these units again, and they're starting to waver because they got attacked in the rear. Of course, the fear effect that these Indian Royal Elephants have is also going to come into play. His thoraeus spears got charged at by my Italian cavalry. My Illyrian levies have actually done a great job here, just holding off his thoraeus spears while they get sandwiched by my Thessalian cavalry. His mercenary Thracian warriors really haven't done anything in this matchup. My Hellenic Royal Cavalry, only 84 kills, just a terrible unit. I think they're not worth their cost at all. 362 kills with my Indian Royal Elephants though. Can't say they haven't been cost effective. I'm going to rear charge his thoraeus spears over here, I believe. Yeah, his thoraeus spears with my Italian cav. And it looks like it's definitely going to go in my favor. I've just sandwiched and killed off the rest of his thorax swordsmen, and the rest of his line is starting to waver here. It's definitely not going to look not going in Milan Francis' favor. Army losses, his thorax swordsmen are wavering, and that's the game, you guys. Very, very fun game. The one solitary militia hoplite that I had is by far the MVP of this game. Just held off completely, like fearless, just held off the enemy general. 3 thorax swordsmen and like 2 thoraeus spears right on their own. But it wasn't that wasn't a good move. That was probably the move that lost Milan Francis the match. Couldn't let basically half of his army get bogged down by that one militia hoplite unit. And I charged in with my Hellenic Royal Cav and my Thessalian Cav, which did pretty decent damage, and it also allowed my Samnite warriors to start getting a lot of kills. This one mercenary Samnite warrior, I think it died very quickly because my own Indian War Elephant just ran onto it. My Rhodian slingers actually did pretty well, but they got rear charged by his Tarentine Cav. These are very nice units, I believe. These Tarentine Cav, always a good unit to bring. I think they're quite slow though, that's the only thing about them. them. But these Rhodian slingers still managed to get a lot of kills on his general, and then my Indian Royal Elephants just came to clean up shop. Citizen Cav here not doing anything didn't really affect the match at all. Illyrian levies did okay. They managed to hold up some of his Thureos spears, which is a huge deal because those Thureos spears could have just fired javelins and killed off my mercenary Indian Royal Elephants within a couple of seconds. So my plan worked and my army worked according to my plan. I just had to charge in, tie down as many of his units, use my pretty shitty infantry to tie down as many of his more highly valued units, and then let my Indian Royal Elephants completely run amok across his infantry line. And in that sense, it wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for my militia hoplite just standing there up in the center, bogging down 5 of his units at the same time. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this battle. Hope you enjoyed it and stay tuned for more. Peace.